Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So today I wanted to share with you my Berlin vlog. Please excuse my background as well because we're actually in the middle of decorating. So James and I decided to go on an extreme day trip to Berlin. So this meant that we flew out from Edinburgh Airport on the first flight to Berlin, spent the day in Berlin, and then actually caught the last flight back on the same day. So we didn't stay over anywhere and we did everything in one day. So I'm going to share what we got up to on our 24 hours, actually it was less than 24 hours, it was more like 12 hours in Berlin. So before we travelled to Berlin, we actually had done a little bit of research on how we would kind of travel around the city and sort of make sure that we could see as much things as possible in our short time that we had there. So James had actually been there before and he said that getting the train was quite straightforward, really quick to get from the airport. So that's what we decided to do. So as soon as we got off our plane, out of the airport, we headed to the train station, and you can actually get a train directly from the train station into the city centre of Berlin. Now, the transport system in Berlin is quite confusing. Luckily, by the end of the day, we got the hang of it, and I'm really happy that we got the hang of it because we were able to see a lot more of the city than I think we maybe would have. So in Berlin, they seem to have 3 different types of trains. So you've got the big trains, which you'll kind of see in the clips that I've shown you, where they're actually double-decker trains. So that is the train that we got from the airport. I think it's called FEX, and that would take you right from the airport right into the city centre, one of the stations in the city centre of Berlin. There's a couple of stations actually that you can get off at. Then you've got the above ground trains, which I'm pretty sure are called S-Bahn trains. So those ones are the ones that again can get you around the city. They're very quick, you can kind of hop on, hop off, very similar to like London Underground and things. And then you've got the U-Bahn trains, which is the underground, the ones that are, you know, under the ground in tunnels and things like that, similar to like the metro in Paris and things. So underground was actually really easy to use. I think we ended up using one of those trains, and they were super easy to use, super easy to read the timetables. Same with the FEX trains, the ones that took us to the airport. The S-Bahn trains, on the other hand, we completely got lost on the way into the city centre. Took us quite a while to get there. However, once we got the hang of it, the rest of the day was a bit more straightforward and we were able to kind of get around the city a bit more, you know, a bit more easily. When we were travelling into Berlin, we also decided to buy a one-day ticket. I'm pretty sure it was only around about €11. And if you use this ticket, you could actually go on all the types of trains that I've mentioned as many times as you want in that one day. And I'm pretty sure you could actually use it on the buses and the trams as well. So I would definitely recommend getting that ticket, a day ticket, because it will get you around the whole city in the one day for around about €11. The first stop that we headed to was Checkpoint Charlie. So Checkpoint Charlie was actually one of the checkpoints for the Berlin Wall, and in that spot they've actually got like a little hut. It's not the real hut, I think it's like a replica of what it would have looked like back when the Berlin Wall was still standing. So we stopped off there, that was our first kind of sightseeing spot. Lots of, you know, chances to take pictures and things like that. It wasn't too busy as well, actually it was really easy to go and take photos and things, and we kind of walked around about that area. In that area as well, there's actually a lot of information like across the street, like on a big display, and it tells you all a little bit more about Checkpoint Charlie, about the Berlin Wall. And if you actually look on the ground, there is a line of like 2 rows of cobblestones, and that actually marks out where the Berlin Wall used to stand when it was still, before it got knocked down. been in Berlin for 3 hours, and so far we've taken how long to get here from the airport? Basically,
3 hours.
yeah, about 3 hours. So basically we got lost and it took us forever to actually get here, but we're at Checkpoint Charlie. That's kind of the first stop that we wanted to make. So I went and seen that, took a few photos, and then we've actually come across this place called Charlie's Beach, which is kind of like an outdoor beer garden with some food vendors and stuff like that. So we've just finished having lunch, and we both had you said it's quite a popular dish here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, they have it, I'm assuming, like as part of street food, so...
and I managed to drop sauce on me as well.
Yeah, so he's got you can't really see it actually here, but yeah, he managed to drop it all down himself. But it was basically chips and then their bratwurst sausage, but with curry sauce and curry powder. So yeah, just finished eating that. So now we're going to be heading to Tiergarten, one of the sort of outdoor parks. But obviously, first of all, we need to figure out how we're actually going to get there. So after finishing off our food at that Charlie's Beach place, that beer garden place, we decided to hop back on one of the trains, the S-Bahn trains, and we headed out to Tiergarten. So Tiergarten was one of their sort of outdoor parks. I didn't actually realise how large it was until we got there. So there's actually a road that runs through the middle of it, and I was just expecting, you know, like a normal kind of park that you could kind of walk around, but it's actually huge, and it's all in different sections as well. So we had a little bit of a walk around the first section that we got off at, the bit that was kind of nearest the train station when we got off the train, and then we actually headed up the road towards what we found out was the Victory Column. So we didn't actually know that was even there, we just kind of came across that. And when I was looking on the map, so I think this would be something that we would definitely do in the future, would be to go off at that same train station, which is actually called Tiergarten, walk up that big long road towards the Victory Column, and if you keep on walking up that straight road, you actually get to the gates of Berlin. Now let me check what it's called. So it's called Brandenburg Gate. So you can, as I said, walk up straight up the street, go past the Victory Column. It's on the Victory Column's on like a big roundabout, massive roundabout. Keep on following that road, then you'll hit Brandenburg Gate, which is actually another really great sightseeing spot. We never actually went to that one. But then if you keep on following that road, it'll actually take you to another sightseeing spot, which is called Museum Island, which I'll share what we got up to and what we've seen there later on. So I think in the future that would definitely be something that we would like kind of hope to do. So the next spot that we headed to after exploring a part of Tiergarten was the Victory Column. So as I mentioned before, I didn't even realise that that was there until we kind of came across it and found it. And again, on that spot, there's a lot of display boards and things with lots of information about what, why it was there, why it was built, and a little bit of the history of it. The one thing that struck me in Berlin, especially in this area, was how massive like the buildings and the monuments and the roads are. Like the road that we crossed to get from the train station to Tiergarten, one side of the road was 5 lanes. So here in the UK, our roads aren't quite as big as that. So obviously both sides of the roads altogether, that's like 10 lanes of traffic. And it just kind of really strikes you how massive, the buildings, some of the statues, the monuments and the roads and everything are in the city. So after having a look at the Victory Column and having a look around Tiergarten, we headed back to the train station and hopped back on a train, and this time we got off at the stop that is the closest to the museum island. So if I can remember the name of the stop, I'll maybe pop it on the screen somewhere, just so that, you know, if you want to go there, you know what stop to get off from the trains. So I think that area was probably my favourite area in the whole of Berlin. It was beautiful. The streets were gorgeous, and Museum Island is pretty much what you think it is. There's like a little the river, I think it's called the River Spree, goes up sort of one side, there's a little bridge, and it takes you onto this little bit of land. It's very similar to kind of Notre Dame, this little bit of land that's in the middle of the city that has a river or water on both sides. And on this island there is loads of museums. Like, I think I read somewhere that there was maybe 7 different museums, and I also read that a lot of them were either free or you could easily, you know, get quite an inexpensive ticket to go and visit them. So in this area, there also seem to be a lot of like little restaurants and cafes and things. So I think what we're going to do the next time that we do visit Berlin, because we're definitely going back, is we'll probably go to that area first. And I think you could easily spend the whole day in that area. Like, you could easily spend the whole day going around a few museums, going for lunch, and then hit a few more museums afterwards. And that area as well is also a really good spot to see the TV tower. So the TV tower is actually another sightseeing spot that you can go and visit, and I'm pretty sure you can actually go up it if you want. So after having a little explore around Museum Island, we decided then to head back to the airport. So we were easily able to catch the train from Museum Island to one of the main train stations, and then we managed to catch our train, the big double-decker train, back to the airport, and then headed home. So yeah, so that basically sums up our time in Berlin. It's definitely somewhere that we're planning on going back to, and now that we've kind of got an overview of all the different things that are in the city and what we can do, we've kind of picked out and pinpointed the areas that I think we're going to head back to. So thank you very much for watching my Berlin vlog. If this is something that you think you'd like to see more of, make sure to like the video and to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.